Why is this not going? There we go. What's up, everybody, and welcome to Flying with Doug. Tonight's episode, we are joined by a very special guest. You've probably seen him on Twitter. That is Sidelines Dayton, a.k.a. John. John, how you doing tonight, man?
I'm great. How are you doing?
Oh, just dealing with audio issues, dealing with all that good stuff. But I'm excited to have you on, man. I really appreciate you doing this for me. Give us
thanks for having me.
Give us a little bit of background on yourself because we obviously see you behind the logo, the Dayton logo. Right. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us how you got involved with Dayton and what's made you a fan for all these years.
Yeah, so I'm currently a student at Dayton. I'll be a senior in the fall. Love the Dayton Flyers, huge basketball fan. I'm from a Philadelphia suburb. Living at home right now in the summer. It's been good. Good summer so far for the Flyers. Got some good players, so I'm really excited for the season.
Definitely excited to talk about that with you. So tell us how you got from obviously Pennsylvania to Dayton. What drew you to here to Dayton?
Oh, so Dayton fans aren't going to like this, but I'm a Knicks fan. So Obi drew me to Dayton, actually.
Okay.
Big Knicks fan. So I liked Obi. Applied to Dayton and some schools in the Midwest, Xavier. I obviously hate Xavier now that I'm at Dayton. They'll never play us for some reason. Hate Xavier. Applied to Indiana, some schools back home. Chose Dayton. Felt the love there. Great campus, great basketball school. People are really nice, so chose Dayton.
Great. Well, obviously, glad that you ended up at Dayton. But what made you get into the Twitter side of things? Because obviously there's a lot that goes into that. What made you decide to create your account? What made you decide to really get into the fray of the Twitterverse?
I'd say, just seeing all of the talk on Dayton Twitter, there's a ton of people and everybody's super into it. Seems like a great space to just talk about the Flyers. Teams are really good every year, so it's always a good time.
Definitely helps that the team is usually pretty competitive, and there's a lot to talk about, as you and I have found out, because we do talk pretty regularly on X. So let's get into it, though, John. We're going to talk about today's big news. We got Marquette for a home and away series. What are your initial thoughts hearing that announcement? Because that adds another very tough game to the Dayton Flyers schedule. So what were your initial thoughts hearing that we'll get Marquette at the arena this season?
I love it. I'm glad that we're home first in a home and away series, I guess you could call it. Glad that we're home first. I like setting the tempo there with home and then away, rather than away than home that we had with Northwestern. That didn't end too well, but hopefully we can bounce back against them this season. I think we can do that. They don't have Boo Booey anymore, and we don't have Duran, but I think we'll be good this season, so I'm really excited.
Great. And like you said, I have memories of us playing Marquette, years in the past, the Chris Wright jumping over in transition with the dunk, things like that. Obviously, playing D-Wade and Travis Diener way back in the day. I remember that also. So we have some fond memories against good Marquette teams. It's really exciting to add them to the schedule, a schedule that now has Marquette, Northwestern, the Maui Invitational. We've also got a game against Cincinnati, the neutral site game. This schedule is absolutely loaded, John. What's the game you're most excited for this season based on what we have right now? Obviously, we could play UConn. We could play a couple different teams in Maui. The rumor right now is that we might play Colorado or UConn to open that tournament.
Yes,
that. Yeah, we'll touch on that shortly. But what's the game that you're looking forward to that was on our schedule right now?
I'd probably say Marquette. Just with being announced today. The big time matchup. I know they lost Tyler Kolek and Iguodaro to the draft, but they still have Cam Jones over there and some other good guys. Good Big East school. Hopefully Dayton can join the Big East one day, but
the pipe dream of all Flyer fans.
Yeah. But I'm super excited for it. I know it's the Saturday after finals week for students, so I'll be staying on campus to watch the game. I'm wondering if the because when for games that are during like breaks and stuff, they sell a portion of the student section seats to the general public.
Right.
Interesting. So I'm wondering if they're going to do that for that game, because I know a lot of students are from Ohio in general and
Yeah.
will want to go to the game. So I'm wondering if they're going to have a full student section or just part of it.
That's a good question. I would assume because that's the Marquette game, I'm expecting them to think more students are going to stay and
Right.
stay for the game, and then maybe take a late trip home from for the rest of the weekend. But I would assume with it being Marquette, they're going to want the rowdiest fans possible. So I'm expecting them to try to hope that the students stay this season. So that would be what I would do if I was Dayton. But yeah, exciting news, John. That we've got a massive schedule. We'll obviously get into that more as the year goes along. But let's talk about the summer, John.
Yeah.
We go out, we get a strong transfer class. I saw you posted an article or a post. I think we were 24th in the transfer portal in the country.
Yeah.
Was that what we were? We get Zed Key, we get Connors, we get Posh Alexander. We really rebuild through the transfer portal. And then we get the two freshmen, and Latang and Musa. What were your thoughts on the summer? Because to me, we lost Duran, we lost Brea. Elvis is one thing, but we lose two major pieces off of last year's team. Obviously, Duran goes in the first round of the tournament or of the draft. Brea goes to Kentucky. Hopefully, he plays well and gets to play there. But what were your thoughts about the summer and the rebuild that this coaching staff did?
I think it was really good. I mean, Posh was a great get, being a starter for, I think, 4 years, right? 3 at St. John's, 1 at Butler.
Yep.
I think he started most games there at those two schools. So a starter in the Big East is always a step in the right direction.
For sure.
I think he's going to be a great player. Same as Zed Key. I know Zed Key started some games, came off the bench some games at Ohio State. Really good player. I know he has some nice post moves inside, which would be good to have for sure. So I'm really excited for those two. I know Jacob Connor, see if he can be the hometown hero, be a good player. Excited for him too. I know he played with Brady Ewell in high school at Alter, so a little bit of a connection there. So super excited. Yeah, it's been a great offseason so far.
So given that information, what would you grade the offseason? Because to me, I'm going to go, my letter grade, I would give it a B, a flat B, because I do think they filled the need to replace a big man. Obviously not Deron Holmes quality, but they did go out and get a starting center who's moving down from the Big Ten to the A-10. I think Zedke's going to really do a good job here. I'm expecting maybe like a 12-8 type season from him if he can stay healthy. He has had some injuries with his shoulder at Ohio State, but I do expect him to be like a 12-8 type guy. And then, we go out and we get a starting caliber point guard in Posh Alexander, who can play a little bit of the two, but he's a guy who has the ball in his hand, and he's also a really good defender. So I like where all of our guards can defend. I really like that.
Yeah, same.
And then, like you mentioned, Connor, kind of a stretch 4, maybe he could play a little bit of 5 if needed. I do like that he provides a little bit of depth behind Santos and some of the other guys. So I like that. And then we go out and we make two, I wouldn't say boom or bust, but 2 like boom type signings, because Latang, if he could develop and become, a starting quality college player, we don't know a ton about him. We know he spent some time on the U19 or U18 French team. If he's kind of a boom guy, if he's solid, that's great. But he also has potential where he could go even higher. And then we got a guy in Hamad Musa, who is on draft boards already for next season. Guy that is just a lot of hype around him right now, because when you get put on draft boards, people automatically assume, okay, that's the end of it. He's going to be fantastic. 2 guys that have a very high potential ceiling. So what are your thoughts on those 2 guys to mix in with the transfers that Dayton brought in?
I think it's great. Having 2 guys, like 2 freshmen that are both. I think both are expected to get some minutes and not redshirt like Marvell Allen and Jayon Simon their first year. think both of them should be a good learning experience for them. Especially like learning from like Enoch, who's been playing college basketball a while, same with Mally and those guys. Learning from them will be huge for them. So yeah, I think they're good additions. And they came like out of nowhere too.
Right. Well, all of a sudden, we were sitting there kind of worried because we hadn't filled out those last couple spots, and then we get the Musa news, we get the Letang news, and all of a sudden this team starts to really take shape. So, what would you grade the offseason then?
I would give it a B plus.
Okay. So you're a little bit higher than I am. The reason I'm probably lower is because I know we got 2 starters for sure in Posh and Key. Connor,
Yep.
He was solid at Marshall, but Marshall's not UD. And then we got kind of a little bit of unknown in Letang, and we've got a guy who's all hype right now, Musa. So I wanted to keep it at a reasonable level. That's why I'm going to stick with a B. But I do like the potential. I do like the fact that Posh Alexander is probably an A10 player of the year potential type guy. Definitely a first team quality player. Yeah. And then Key, if Key really plays well, he could work his way onto the first team, second team type situation. So 2 very high quality starters, along with some guys who have a lot of potential. Other things we want to touch on. Let's get into the rotations and lineups. It's very early. We're in the summer. John, we've got a ton of time to shake out. We've got guys who are coming back from injuries, guys that are getting there and getting worked into the lineups and everything like that. Ideally, if everybody's healthy, game 1, who do you think AG throws out there in the starting 5?
Yeah, so home opener, St. Francis, PA.
Must-win game. It's a must-win.
Must-win game.
Must-win game. I'm calling it right now. We have to beat St. Francis game 1, or this season's a wash.
Yeah, but what year was that we lost to like Lipscomb? And
exactly. From now
on,
that
was my freshman year. Freshman year, we lost to those teams. UMass Lowell.
Exactly. That's why I never take these games for granted. They are all must win because of that season and that season alone. Those 2 games so detrimental to the year. But right. So we start with St. Francis, John. Who's the starters in your mind from AG? It doesn't have to be who you want to see start. Who do you think AG starts?
Who do I think AG starts? So I'm going to go Mally at the 1, Malachi Smith at the point guard. Because I think even though Bennett was great last year, great filling in for him for injury, but I think Mally's his guy. I mean, Scoochie went to Dayton. I feel like Mally's his little baby that he wants to play,
I understand that.
Yeah. Okay. Posh at the 2, Posh Alexander at the 2, Enoch Cheeks at the 3, Nate Santos at the 4, and Zed Key at the 5.
And that seems to be the overall consensus is those 5 guys, which I'm fine with. I think that's going to be what AG goes with. But John, if it was up to you, who would you start and why? Give me that list.
Ooh. See, like if it was up to me, like I know all the hype with Hamad Musa, like being a potential first round pick and all this stuff. But like, if I've seen him play, like the thing is like, I'm giving out this starting 5 and like, I haven't seen some of the guys on the bench play like in person. Like I've only seen highlights.
Fair.
So it's tough. Like same with like Jacob Connor. And I mean, we haven't seen Marvell Allen or Jayon Simon play yet. We've only really seen highlights from Dayton Twitter.
Yeah.
So same with Letang. Like, I mean, we've seen highlights of him stepping out and shooting threes at 7-1, but
he's got a nice looking shot. Honestly, he really does.
He does.
I mean, based on what we've been able to see. Again, we understand it's European highlights against maybe not always the best competition, but it's more about the fundamentals that we see. And it looks like he potentially has a very nice jump shot. So continue on.
So I would say who I would start. I mean, I would start Posh at the 1, Enoch at the 2, and then I would start Musa at the 3, and then Santos at the 4, and Zed Key at the 5. That would be my starting lineup if I was AG and saw like Musa practicing and like holding his own in practice.
Yeah, see, to me that's the move is, and I know we had this conversation kind of yesterday on Twitter.
Yeah.
It feels like that's the move because if you start Mally, Posh, and Cheeks together, it is a small backcourt. We started a small backcourt last year, but they also have damn near no shooting, and that puts so much pressure on Nate Santos to be a fantastic shooter. And he is a damn good shooter. Don't get me wrong. I think he shot 39% last year on a decently high volume. I expect that volume to go up for him, but I don't think he needs to be the only guy who can spread the floor. I do like the fact that Mally, Posh, Cheeks lineup could attack the rim at a very high level and they're very talented with the ball getting to the basket. In today's day and age, they are going to pack the paint so hard on everybody not named Nate Santos in that lineup that it's going to give those guards trouble. I think Posh, he is a streaky shooter. He can get hot. Mally, it's been 2 years since we've seen him consistently play, and teams were already sagging off of him by the end of his season. And then Cheeks, I have faith in Cheeks to be a better shooter this year. He's got to be willing to take them because there were situations last year where he wasn't willing to take them. I think this year I'm expecting him to be even better. We can't have 3 non-shooters in the lineup. People have been talking about putting Bennett in for Mally. I understand that. But let's rewind, guys. Javon Bennett only shot 32% last year. It wasn't like he was out there. I know he had some big games where we're all like, oh, yeah, I mean, he can shoot. He can shoot, but he's not. I mean, it's kind of – you're kind of picking and choosing there. That's why I think if we could somehow get Mally as our 6th man, maybe bring him and Bennett in for a press or something like that for like just
I agree.
Some havoc-type minutes, and we start Musa – who has all this pomp and circumstance and this hype behind him. But watching him play, watching all of his highlights, watching some game film, that guy has a big time potential to shoot the ball at a high clip in college. And I think him and Santos spreading the floor would make Posh Alexander and Cheeks' life so much easier. And that's another thing, John. I know I made the joke earlier about must win, but against St. Francis, when you're really not going to lose, why would you not come out and see what this kid can do game 1?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
To me, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. I mean, I hope he gets minutes game 1, but like we got some comments in the chat.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
We got Jason. Will the balls translate differently for Letang and Musa for shooting? I don't think it's going to be a major issue. It's just a slight difference of ball. I appreciate you chiming in, Jason. I talked to him in the DMs a lot. Definitely growing a friendship with him. He's a knowledgeable guy. Jason, I don't think it's going to be that big of a difference because you also get all this time to prepare for the season to start with the regular ball. So I don't predict that to be an issue for the guys. But John, back to my point. Musa, Santos, spread the floor. You've got 2 outs on your wings, and then you've got 2 guys who are attacking from the top. And then you've got the dunker spot with Zed Key, who, if you really do need it, you can get a post up. But also, if we do go with the small guard lineup, John, we're gonna have to play differently. We can't run that same pace we had last year and be successful, in my opinion. What are your thoughts on potentially, hopefully, AG changing up a little bit and pushing the pace more this season? Any thoughts on that?
I'd love to see him push the pace. I've been pushing for that hard that we need to push the pace because I feel like in transition, that's where Dayton thrives every single year is in transition. You saw it with Obi in transition, getting out and dunking. Duran in transition was great, getting out and dunking. Our guards are great passing up the floor, getting out to our bigs and forwards, getting out for easy layups. So like even when the other team scores, get the ball out quickly and go. You know what I mean? Like, don't let the other team get back on defense. We just got to be faster.
We've got to be faster than we were last year. We have to. Because we don't have an NBA player anymore. Well, if Musa turns out to be a star, sure. But we don't have a surefire NBA All-American on our team right now. We can't do what we did last year where we walked the ball up and then had Duran bring the ball up from time to time. That's not an option this year. It has to be faster. Malachi Smith wants to get out and run. Posh Alexander wants to get out and run. Cheeks wants to get into transition. Santos is great in transition also. Zed Key is a mobile 5 now that he's slimmed down and everything. Javon Bennett, small, quick guard.
Really quick.
It's gotta, we've got to do more with this and help these guys out because, like Jason just asked us, what lineup would you roll out against VCU? I'm rolling out 4 guards and a big man, and Santos is I would probably play Santos still, but I'm having guys who can dribble the ball and handle pressure. Shout out to Bricks Nat. Yes, it is on TKDS Sports now. Thank you for stopping in and watching the show. We very much appreciate it. But against VCU, it's always different because of the way they play. But I would have my guards, and if Moose is ready by then, I would keep him in the lineup. But if he's not ready, we have the guards that are capable of breaking a press. So what would you do against VCU? Because it's very early for this conversation, but what would you do against VCU? Would you put 3 guards in just to be safe, or would you keep Moose in if he's ready?
It all depends on
he's got to be ready.
If Moose has already been playing or not. I'm not really sure when we're playing VCU in the season. That hasn't come out yet. So I know we're playing them home and away, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can get it pulled up. 1 second.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think my prediction for first game of A10, after the what the MTE you call it in Maui, I think after that's when we start seeing Musa crack the starting 5. That's my prediction, because if you're going to be projected to be a first-round draft pick, you got to be pretty good. And I think if you're projected to be a first-round draft pick, you're probably better than some guys in the starting lineup. I mean, no offense to these guys, but they're great players. But if you're projected to be a first-round pick, you're probably starting.
You got to be,
towards the end of the season. So,
well, that's what kind of I was asking people yesterday who were pushing back on Musa. I was like, if this guy's what people are saying he is, if he's got that ability, there's no reason not to get him started now. So by the end of the year, he's firing on all cylinders where we're going to need him most. So keep going, John. But I was confused because people were like, oh, we got these guys who've got this seniority. I don't care about your seniority. I want the best guys on the floor, regardless of what season or what you're in. Best guys on the floor. I don't care about the rest of that stuff. We want to win. Winning is more important than your ego or your class year. So continue, John.
Yeah. So I agree with everything you said there. I mean, who would I see starting against VCU? I would see Posh, Enoch, Musa, Santos, and Key. I think that's my prediction.
Okay, so you're sticking with it.
Yeah, I think for the starting 5 for the first game of the A10, I think Musa ends up starting over Mally, and Posh and Enoch move to the 1 and the 2.
Man, I really like the idea of Posh and Cheeks as the 1 and the 2. Jason asked, where do you see Jack this year besides backing up Key? I like Isaac Jack. I'm all in on Isaac Jack.
Yeah, big fan.
Here's the thing: when he comes in, is it beautiful? No, it's not. It's not gonna be beautiful because he's only been playing basketball for a short period of time. But you can see he has good touch around the rim. He's physical. He can play, and he can give Zed Key a breather when he needs it. I expect him to be a little bit more efficient this year, a little bit better in terms of rebounding, and hopefully his foot speed is a little bit better in his second year at Dayton. So I expect him to be a solid backup this season for Dayton. I really do have high hopes for Isaac Jack. A lot of people have decided that they're out on him. No, I think he's a good player.
Yeah, I agree.
He still has decent potential. His per 40 numbers were very solid. Let's give him another chance. It was his first year. You come from Buffalo to UD, where basketball is definitely at a little bit higher level. I'm expecting him to continue and grow this offseason and be a little bit faster with his feet, because that's going to be very important for him in the A10. There are definitely talented big men that are quick, and if you make a mistake, they're dunking the ball on your head. I think he's going to be faster this year after a learning curve last season. So any thoughts on Jack besides what I mentioned there, John?
I think you hit it pretty well. Can we run 3 bigs? Ooh.
Which 3 bigs? Because Key and Jack can't space the floor. That's the problem. Like last year, with Duran and Jack when we wanted to go big, at least Duran wasn't crowding the paint also. To me, Zedke's range is only out to like 18 to 20 feet. So running 3 bigs this year is going to be a little bit more difficult unless you run Connor, Zed, and Letang, because Letang and Connors can space the floor. That would be something I would at least entertain. But I think it's going to be difficult to get those 3 guys on the floor. It would have to be Letang, Connors, and Key just because of floor spacing, which I don't hate. I would try it early in the year maybe, but AG is not really huge into experimenting like that. But I definitely don't hate it. I kind of like the fact that we'd have 2 6'10", 6'11" guys out there shooting threes while Zedke's in there trying to clean it up. I think it's a fun visual. But John. Yeah, go on, John. What is there any lineup that you're like, this would be super fun, but it's probably not going to happen? Is there any lineups that look like that for you?
I guess I could make a lineup that would be super fun. Javon Bennett at the 1, Marvell Allen at the 2, Enoch Cheeks at the 3.
Yeah.
Letang at the 4. And Zedke at the 5.
That is a wild lineup.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. Okay, so let me ask you, John, and I'm not looking for anything, I'm not trying to dig deeper than what anybody else knows. Marvell Allen, he comes in his first year, he redshirts, he's dealing with some injuries, he's recovering this offseason. We've all established that. He's supposed to be back sometime in August, I believe was the report. Are we losing any hope with him? Because it feels like he's just not had a chance to really mesh and really get in there with the rest of the team and be a part of everything. I know he got to practice a little bit here and there last year, but it feels like he's just behind everybody else. And I kind of get that vibe with Simon also, who I really like. I spoke to very briefly when he first signed, and I watched some of his highlights, watched some of his game film. I liked what he had. But it just doesn't feel like we've gotten to see these guys because of red shirt last year, which I did not like. Injuries this year. Any thoughts on those 2 guys? Mainly Marvell Allen, because he came in with a lot more hype. And he was, that highly recruited guy who was supposed to go to Georgetown, ended up coming to UD. So any extra thoughts on Marvell Allen?
I mean, if you're going to redshirt and then come back, I feel like
I did not expect it. I didn't expect it.
I didn't expect it at all either. If you're going to redshirt and then come back, but the problem was it was sort of a medical redshirt, sort of not. Like he got healthy towards the end of the season, but then it was too late to even put him in the lineup because he has been playing and everybody's been so gelled. But I mean, it's tough because this team is so deep now. There's so many guys that are fighting for minutes that it's tough to start them first off. And even right now for my bench, I have him 9th. So 9th in the rotation. AG doesn't play. He rarely plays 9 people. He might play 9 people against St. Francis when we're up 20.
Hopefully we get 10 guys in against St. Francis. So give me that rotation then, John, because if he's 9th on the rotation, then we get the starters. We've talked about the starters, Posh. For your starters, Posh, Cheeks, Musa, Santos, Key. Who's the bench rotation then for you?
Mally, 6th.
Yep.
Javon Bennett, 7.
Okay.
I'll go Hamad Musa, 8.
Okay.
Jacob. So this moves Marvell to 10. Actually, originally I had.
So you would have Connor comes in before Jack.
Well, it depends on I don't know AG's rotations and how he wants to do things, but I mean, we obviously need, when Key isn't out there, we need Jack in most likely, unless Letang is ready from day one, which we don't know.
You never know.
But so I would have Marvell at 10 there. Okay. Jacob Connor at 8. I think I got that mixed up, but I would have Marvell at 10 in the rotation with everything there.
Okay,
And
that's
then
interesting.
Jay on at 11. But that's the thing. This team is so deep that it's so tough to put people like 6, 7, 8, 9, because you don't know. Like there's
Okay,
so
so
many guys that.
if I had to build a second unit that had to be a starting 5, it would.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so my starters would be Posh, Cheeks, Musa, Santos, Key. That would be my starting group. And then off the bench, my starting 5 or my next 5 would be obviously be Mally. I think it'd be Bennett, Mally, and
Yep.
it would have to be Simon because of position, which is tough. And then I would put Connor and Jack. See, but that 3 spot is interesting because, the 3 spot is interesting on the second unit to me because if Moose is not in that second unit, Simon has to play, and we just don't know. We just don't know. We're putting a lot of faith in a guy that we haven't gotten to see yet. And while that is difficult, I think he has potential still. I know he's dealing with I believe it's an ankle, it's a foot, something like that. I just want to see him get healthy and actually get to see him play so we have some idea. But right now it would be Bennett, Mally, Simon, Connor, Jack, with Letang and Connor kind of being up in the air. Because if Letang can shoot and if he can be physical at all, I think him and Jack playing together would be very fun. David Cook said all of this just to lose to St. Joe's. Yeah, I mean it's very possible that St. Joe's beats us once, but kind of
St. Joe's will be good.
Yeah, I mean I'm not saying they're not going to be very good. They're definitely going to be a tough out, that's for sure. Yeah. So John, let's go into the preview for next year. We saw a bunch of people are coming out with their previews for the season. Certain people have Dayton 5th, certain people have Dayton 4th, here and there. What are your thoughts on Dayton's prospects going into this season? Do you think that they're one of the best 2 teams in the league? Do you think they're one of the best 3 teams? Where do you have Dayton right now?
I have Dayton third. So I think VCU and St. Louis are 2 teams that are better than us on paper right now. But non-conference comes around, we beat Northwestern, we do well in Maui, we beat Cincinnati, and we beat Marquette, then we're 1.
Cincinnati's going to be tough. Cincinnati's going to be tough this year. Marquette's going to be tough. That schedule is a grind.
Yeah, it is a grind. Like we could. There's three games at home or 2 games at home. Northwestern and Marquette. Cincinnati's at Heritage Bank and Cincy. But those 2 games they could go either way. We could lose by 2 points or we could win by 2 points. It's going to be a good game.
So I'm with you there. I was going to say third also because I think VCU and St. Joe's are the best 2 players in the league.
St. Joe's, okay. I have St. Louis.
Oh, you have St. Louis over St. Joe's. Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, I misheard you. So I have us in St. Louis 3 and 4. I had us third. Okay. I had St. Louis. I had St. Joe's at 2, VCU because they got Scholgo back. I think Scholgo's going to be contending for Player of the Year. So I do think they're the best team right now. But again, we have pieces that are massive, massive potential pieces. If Musa is good, there's no reason we couldn't win the A-10 again this year. If Letang could be solid this year, it would definitely be interesting. Let's see. Jason asks, how much muscle do you think Letang can put on before the fall? It's not going to be enough to really, be noticeable in my opinion, because it's already July 10th. They just got here a couple days ago. I'm sure they're going to be feeding that guy like crazy and having him in the weight room like crazy. Yeah. If he could add 5 to 6 pounds of muscle, that would be fantastic because it's just difficult, especially with them practicing and going through all that stuff. You're going to be losing, you're going to be losing a lot of what you're trying to put in, and you're trying to stay, hydrated, well fed, all that kind of stuff. I think it's going to be tough because they got here so late in the summer, but if they could put on 5 to 6 pounds of muscle, that would be massive. Steve, hurt, yes. Marvell was a 5-star player and 8 to 9 players. Slow down talent, doesn't stop because of injury. Hey, I have no problem if he comes in and he's super talented. I've got no problem with him moving up and being an important player for this team.
I agree.
But at the end of the day, he's not going to start over Posh Alexander. He's not going to start over Enoch Cheeks. He's not a small forward. Even if he could be the 6th or 7th man, I'm totally okay with that. If he's that good and takes Javon Bennett's minutes, if he takes Malachi Smith's minutes, great. That means we have another good, talented player that we can rely on. So, Steve, I'm totally with you there. If this guy's as talented as people say, hell yeah, get him in the lineup. I'm totally for that. But based on what we know and what we've seen, and him not being able to practice this entire offseason, that doesn't help him get into the lineup more. You can have a bunch of talent, but if you have no availability, it doesn't matter. So that solid point there, Steve, but it goes both ways. Jason asks again, will Mally stay healthy? In my heart of hearts, John, I have to hope for that kid to be healthy.
Yeah.
I understand that we've been kind of conditioned to believe that something's going to pop up for him that could, put an end to the season. But I want Malachi Smith to spend the end of his career healthy and playing for Dayton.
Yeah.
And, I'm sure you have the similar sentiments. It's been interesting because we haven't really got to see him grow at all. We got to see that freshman flash, but we never got to see what came after. And he's been hurt ever since. So it's in my mind, how much has he been able to get better in this time because of the injuries, John? What are your thoughts on that? Like, it's hard to practice when you're hurt. I mean, it's hard to get better. It's hard to improve your jump shot. It's hard to improve a lot of stuff. So what are your thoughts there, John?
Yeah, so he is fully cleared for practice. That's what I've seen on Twitter. So that's a good step in the right direction.
Very happy for him.
But I mean, if you're fully practicing, I think I don't see a problem with him gelling with the team.
Yeah.
Getting that chemistry up with everybody and being a great player for us. I mean, he was great his freshman year and improved on the 3 a little bit his sophomore year. Junior year, he was hurt the whole season besides SIU Edwardsville that in the first half or whatever that was. But
tough. That's so tough, man.
So tough. First game.
Oh man, it's just the luck is just so unfortunate,
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, obviously, everybody in Dayton is rooting for Malachi Smith. We want him to succeed, but I don't. Here's the thing, and I'm trying to say this as nicely as I can, John, because it is somewhat sensitive. I don't want Mally to just be gifted a spot because of his name and what we thought he was as a freshman. I want him to earn it.
Yeah, I agree. He is a great player. We all know he's done great things at Dayton, but there's also a kid coming in that is projected to be a first-round draft pick, and if he has potential to be a great player and is playing great in practice and scrimmages, those secret scrimmages that you play against other teams or whatever, if he's playing great in those and is putting up numbers, then you can move Posh to the 1, Enoch to the 2, and then put in Musa there if you really want to. I mean, it's up to AG obviously, but I can't see him doing it in game 1 against St. Francis. I can see Malachi Smith playing there, but I think the lineup might change a little bit throughout the season if Musa lives up to the hype that has been given so far.
Definitely. Nope, that's fair. Well, guys, we've done 38 minutes. I appreciate everybody who's in here watching. We've got 421 live viewers, so shout out to all the Dayton Flyer fans.
Let's go.
That means an absolute ton to me. John, go ahead and plug Sidelines Dayton for us. Where can we find you? Give us your all that good stuff. Tell us a little bit more about your social media presence.
Yeah, so I'm Sidelines Dayton. I run Sidelines Dayton. My @ is at SSN_. If you just look up Sidelines Dayton, you'll be able to find me.
It's not as fun to do the @ but we can find you. And obviously I tagged you in this post. Guys, John has a lot of good content. He knows his basketball. You can read his stuff on X, and you can see that he's always putting out good stuff that is helpful and gives you a little bit more knowledge about Dayton hoops. John, I really appreciate you coming on and joining me today. I know we had some issues to start, but we finished strong. And obviously, we'd love to have you on again as the season goes along.
Appreciate it.
Having you be an active student and coming on potentially after games to recap what you saw, that's definitely something I would like to explore down the road. So thank you for coming on, man. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
All right, guys, that's John, and we'll see him later. This has been Flying with Doug. I appreciate you guys all watching. I'll be back next week. You can find Flying with Doug on a new outlet. Also, we'll be changing things up here a little bit. We've joined the TKDS Sports Network. So if you've heard of them, definitely check them out. We'll be streaming there also on all of their pages. So it's a big move for me, and hopefully you guys continue to watch and continue to support. And go Flyers. See you guys next Wednesday.